Hello world, it's Kurtis Potter with Boundless Inspiration. And I'm just doing a series on intentional relationships. Because let's be honest, if you're not intentional about pretty much anything, it will likely dictate your life. If you're not owning it and being in control of it, chances are it's controlling you. So when I got asked to do this relationship video, I was like, you know what? I can't just do one video because it's not just about relationships. When I really started to study and think about relationships going into, say, my spouse or significant other, relationship with family members and so forth, I was like, there's all kinds of other variables that go into this. It's like there's not just one ingredient that it takes to make a cake. It's all kinds of them. And if you don't get all the ingredients right, that cake's not going to taste right. You could be off just on one or forget one ingredient and it not even be the same cake. Well, that's the same thing for your relationships. If you don't work on all the outside ingredients in your life, then your relationship is likely not going to be right. They say that how you do anything is how you do everything. Well, it's the same thing with your relationship. And I'm just speaking from experience because I know when I didn't have all the exterior stuff in check, it reflected in my relationships. When I had that baggage and that stuff that I needed healing from and needed to fix on the inside, it was showing on the outside. No matter how hard I just tried to hold it in, it was showing up in my relationship. It was showing up in my job. It was showing in my relationships with friends, family, coworkers. When I was a mess on the inside, you could go out to my car at any random time, and chances were it could or couldn't be dirty. My workshop, it could or couldn't be organized. My finances could or could not be in check. And today, in this series of relationships, I'm actually talking to you about your finances. Now, the thing is growing up in school, I don't remember little amount of teachings about finances. I think they taught us how to manage a checkbook. Maybe I think that was about all I remember. But they didn't focus on it. They didn't focus on wealth versus being rich, having money. And I think it's a shame, and it's likely for a reason to keep the middle class and lower class. And there's a reason why there's a small percentage that actually becomes that 1 percentile, that 5 percentile of people that are actually wealthy in the world. Now, I'm not speaking to you from a standpoint that I'm a millionaire or a billionaire, or I have a profession or a degree in finance. But I'll tell you what, I do have a lot of lessons that I've learned from doing the wrong things. That up and down roller coaster. I've had a lot of money. I've had a little money. It's been both sides. So I've been studying finance and wealthy people. So I have a little bit to say. Now, just like any video that I do recommend that you don't just stop there, because I don't have a master's degree in any of these situations. I just have a degree in the hard knocks of life, and I've made enough mistakes to just try to help you. And I know that pain that it felt when I made those mistakes, like bam, 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 head against the wall, like what am I doing? And I just got sick and tired of being sick and tired of making those same stupid mistakes. And eventually you got to just, you know what? It's time to do what it takes to get it in check, so that I can stop making those mistakes and I can receive the joys and happiness of life that I'm seeking, right? So one of the worst lessons that I got probably right out of high school from my father was to get a credit card, because that's going to build your credit, right? And yes, that is a great thing to do if you're intentional upon it. So folks, if you don't manage your money, it's going to manage you. So this is one lesson I learned: get credit cards, build your credit. You need credit in today's society. That's a fact, right? So what my dad didn't teach me, but my uncle did later on in life, was never take your credit cards over 30%, right? So, and credit cards, be intentional with them, just like this relationship. So I believe credit cards are a great thing if you're intentional upon it. But this is what my uncle taught me. He had three major credit cards. One, he only used his wife and him for gasoline in his vehicle, something he was going to purchase every single week regardless, right? So he had the cash to purchase that gas, but what he did was if he swiped it at the tank, that also helped him where he didn't have to go inside. He swiped it, say $76 in gas. He would take that same $76 in cash and he would put it in an envelope. So at the end of the month, when his credit card bill came, he'd pay it off. And you're thinking, well, why would he do that? Because it raised his credit. And then also when he picked the three credit cards that he decided to take, one, he did them with the best interest rates that he could get at the time. Two, he used the three that gave him the rewards that mattered to his life. See, he's an airplane mechanic in Atlanta, Georgia. All of our family's here in Indiana. So he knew that he was going to come back to Indiana for pretty much every major holiday, funeral, and just randomly when he wanted to see the family. Well, for him, he got to fly for free because he worked at Delta International in Georgia. So he knew he didn't need a credit card that he needed air miles. But he knew when he came to Indy, he was going to likely have to stay with somebody or borrow a vehicle or so forth. And he didn't want to do that anymore. So he got one credit card that gave him hotel points. His other credit card, he used only for food, him and his wife, only food. It's a rule. They took a permanent marker, a Sharpie, and on the front of it just wrote food. So they knew that whenever they go to the grocery store, same thing. $120, take that $120 cash out of their pocket that they already had, put it in an envelope. At the end of the month, they paid off that credit card. Well, that got him points at hotels. So now he gets to fly to Indy for free. He gets hotels for free. His other card, he gets rental cars for free. And he was intentional with credit cards. See, my dad taught me to get credit cards, and they can be a great thing if you're intentional with them. But me, I was just like, oh, I want this, swipe, didn't have the money for it, so then I'm paying on it, paying on that interest, and then it's my master. Instead of me mastering it and being intentional with it, it become my master. When I was making great money, see, the thing is I had went through some stuff, and my credit got ruined, went down 500 or so forth. And I was like, you know what? I'll go back to that using those credit cards intentionally, right? And that's what I was doing. I was racking them up, paying them off. I was racking them up, paying them off. I made great money. So it's all good. But then something happened where I was no longer making that great money. And I had already had a couple $1,000s on this one, couple $1,000s on this one. Well, then life really smacked me in the face and backed me in a corner. And I didn't have a emergency fund. So the next thing you know, I was having to use them. Maxed out 3 credit cards, like $21,000 in debt. And I'm just like, then it's like, I'm just treading water, trying to keep my head above water. And I've almost got them all paid off. I'm proud of myself. But what I had to do was I stopped blowing money on the things that I didn't have to blow money on, right? So there's been days where I've just ate peanut butter and jelly for lunch. There's days where I ate ramen noodles for lunch. There's days where I ate cans of tuna for lunch. Now, I stopped really eating the ramen noodles since I've been working on my girlish figure. But the thing is I kept eating, you know what? I was like, I'll keep eating this tuna. I'll keep eating rice and chicken. I'll keep on eating this peanut butter and jelly. Yeah, the jelly is a little fattening, but I was like, with me working out, that also goes along with my diet, my food regimen, for me being intentional with my body. So it worked out. It was cheap and it worked out for my body. Did it taste as amazing as going to Chick-fil-A and getting their deluxe deep fried spicy chicken sandwich with waffle fries? Nope. That is, they say that's God's food. but the thing is it still took me down the path of, it's still yummy. I'll love me some PB&J, some chicken and rice. If you season it right, I still love that food, but it also helped me in 2 different points in my life. And that's when I was being intentional. And, even those days, man, I used to put mayo in the and the tuna, and then I'd chop up some pickles and put it in there as just tuna salad, and it was good, and I'd eat it on bread. But I was like, you know what? I could take this to another level. See, no matter where you're at in your life, I guarantee you could take it to the next level. And if it's just baby steps, right? I was already eating those tuna sandwiches, and I was like, you know what? I'm just going to get rid of the bread and the mayo, and I still eat it. And the thing is no, it does not taste as amazing as when it was in a sandwich form. But the thing is I learned to celebrate every time I did that because I was now the master of that. See, anything that is dictating your life or making you alter what you really want to do, then it's actually your master, right? So whenever my finances were getting the best of me, it was the master of me. I was a slave to my finances. I was not intentional on my finances, which was having an effect on my life. And like I said at the start of this video, it was also affecting my relationships. See, we don't realize that all these little variables, that's why they say how you do anything is how you do everything. And I'm learning that it's really true, because when I was not being intentional in, even at say 4 out of 15 categories in my life, then my life was still not the best it could be. It was still not the most joyful that it could be. I wasn't the happiest I could be. When my finances were in check, there was stuff that I couldn't do that I wanted to do. I saw my buddy just went to Dubai, and I was like, you know what? That's one place that I've always wanted to go. And it's going to take me being intentional to get there. I started a business. I've had multiple businesses. Yeah, some of them have failed. If you look at any business owner, most businesses fail to start up. It's normally the 7th or 9th business that most businesses succeed. Sometimes you get lucky and you get your breakthrough and it just takes off. Likely if you're more intentional at the start of owning a business, or you know what, you just may have hit the right trend, the right time. Luck's involved. It may have been you put in those crazy hours, you put in 100-hour weeks and everything went right because you just kept on fighting. Sorry, guys. I'm getting a cold. My nose is running. Part of it. Part of life. So on your finances, are you intentional on your finances? And I'm talking from myself because I've made these mistakes. This isn't to point fingers at you because, again, remember, you got 3 pointing back at you when you're trying to point that finger and the one at God. So I'm just speaking from experience. And when I ask you questions, I'm asking myself them questions as well. Like Kurtis, the last time I bought a pair of shoes, I think it was a couple years ago, actually maybe a year ago to be honest. We were doing family photos, so I bought us all matching shoes. But that used to be one of the things I loved doing, was going and buying new shoes, like at least every quarter. So like 4 pairs a year. I loved them. I keep up on them. So if you look at all my shoes, they're well kept, so I don't just destroy them. But I know people that are struggling financially and out there buying Jordans. As a matter of fact, I loaned a buddy $250. He still never paid me. Our relationship got ruined. And it was because I saw on Facebook he had went and got the new J's. $300. Owed me $250. And I'm like, bro, what's up? And he's pretty much like, screw you, man. They just came out. I had to get them. I'm a Jordan fanatic. And our relationship got ruined at that point because he was not intentional about his finances. Jordan shoes mastered him. He's still in a financial debacle, but he's got rows of Jordans in his closet. I'm not talking down on him because I've done that before. I've let money manage me before. There's times where I allowed the outside world, like keeping up with the Joneses, defeat me. I've lived paycheck to paycheck. It sucks. You don't have to live that way. If you're intentional, you won't live that way. I just saw this video. It was actually by Shaquille O'Neal, who is one of the wealthiest people really in America. And he actually, when he went into the NBA, he never spent any of his money he made from the NBA. And now he did have some opportunities with advertising and just different brands because he was massive. But he never spent any of his money, put it into a bank account. And he only used the money that he got from, say, Nike and all those different brands. But in this video I watched of his, he said, okay, for any person now, it's going to be hard if you're backed into the corner already financially. But if you're not, if you're hearing this video, he took a piece of paper and he ripped it in half. He said, smart people, they take half their money, they instantly put it away, right? And then they live off the other half. And most of us, I know, speaking from experience and the people that I know, they don't do that. We get ourselves backed into a corner. We want the best house that we can afford, the best car that we can afford, nice clothes, nice things, the most channels on TV that we can have, the fastest internet with the most gigs, the newest phone, eating out as many times as I can a week. A lot of times I don't know why we just push ourselves to the limit on getting the most we could possibly get financially, but it puts us in a debacle where if some kind of curveball in your life comes, that's what just wreaks havoc. And then you're swiping those cards. So Shaquille said most people don't even split it in half, right? But he said what the wealthy do is they not only split it in half, but they also actually split it into fourths, and they only live off 25%, and they put 75% aside, and then they invest a majority of that 75%, normally at least half of that. I don't know, what's that, like 33.5% or whatever? 32.5, I think. No, that's not even it. 37.5. So they're also investing, so their money is making them money. See, those people are the ones that are masters of their money. The best thing they say you could do financially is make your money work for you instead of you working for the money. If you're stuck in a job that you hate, I'm willing to bet it's because you're backed into a corner financially. You can't go get another job if you wanted to. You can't go get another car if you wanted to. Man, my wife and I, both of our vehicles, I've never even heard this before. The timing chain went out. My wife's van, shot the motor. Timing chain broke in my truck, shot the motor. In 1 month, her motor's $4,200, my motor $5,000. In 1 month, $9,200 in mechanical issues in our vehicles. Mine was a little bit older truck. It was work truck than hers. Hers just barely turned over 100,000 miles. Honda Odyssey, they lasted me like 400,000 miles easy. But that was just a curveball that came into our lives. And I'll tell you, it shook us because we're like, man, I mean, who has $10,000 just to drop on a vehicles that we just paid off, right? That's how life happens, folks. So if you're not intentional with your money, I mean, we could lose our house. We could have not been able to pay our bills because we had to have cars. It was, like, if we're not intentional on how we responded and prepared for that situation, it could really just wreck our life. And no, it wasn't easy. And no, it wasn't like, yes, $9,200. But the same point, if we're not intentional with our lives, we wouldn't have been able to get through that situation. So my question to you is, are you being intentional with your finances? Are you having a intentional relationship with your finances? Do you know someone else that is not? They're just living paycheck to paycheck, and all it's going to take is one curveball in their life to just completely wreak havoc. Like those people that win the lottery and they end up becoming broker than they were before because they were not intentional with that money. I had a buddy, same thing. He ended up getting like $250,000 given to him. I think it was on his 18th birthday. He got $250,000. Went straight to Ford and bought a Ford Expedition. Drove that brand new off the lot. Drove it straight to Ovation. Put a $6,000-$7,000 system in it. Drove straight to the rim shop. Put brand new rims on it. Went straight to the custom shop. Had them customize everything. Put 100 racks into a vehicle Literally first week he had that money. And he went out and he just went shopping at Macy's and bought all these clothes. Went to the hunting store and bought all these guns and all this stuff. It wasn't even 6 months later he started having to sell all that stuff. $250,000 in one day. 6 months later, he's selling everything for just a portion of what he got it for. Now he doesn't have any of that stuff, right? He wasn't intentional, and I'm not pointing down on him. I love this dude to death, and he's doing amazing now. Everything happens for a reason. It didn't happen to us. It happened for us. So it actually helped him grow tremendously in life. Now he values money a lot more because he had it and he lost it, right? So if you're in a place where, you may be at the bottom, you may be stretched financially so bad, what I recommend to you is maybe get a part-time job, even if it's 2 nights a week, and make that same dedication that I'm not going to spend any of this money. Even if it's at the gas station, Speedway, they're paying like $15 an hour now. So even if you're making $100 a week, $150, whatever, take that whole $150 and put it towards paying off some of your finances. So you're not backed into the corner. So you're not getting managed by your money. Instead, you're the master of your money. I hope this helped you all. Again, go past this video and you know what? If you're struggling financially, if this is one of the relationships in your life that is just a mess, you can go to Half Price Books, and they have books for like $5 on finance. It's up to you. All you got to do is make a choice in how intentional you want to be, because sometimes you got to get sick and tired of being sick and tired before you make a change. And you know what? I got sick and tired of my life not being exactly how I know it could be, but better. See, if you're on a spiritual trip, the Lord above says that he looks at all of our lives and he sees how amazing it could be, and we can't even fathom it. We could be kings. We could be presidents. We could be going to the moon, astronauts, business owners, billionaires, trillionaires. Look at all the people in China, billionaires and trillionaires made every day. This just isn't about finances either, folks. This is about generational wealth. They say the wealthy people set up their great-grandchildren for wealth, right? It's not just about us. It's about setting up our kids and futures. It's not about spoiling them so there's some spoiled little brats. It's about teaching them. It's about involving them. It's about helping them grow so they don't make the same mistakes we did. If this hurts to you, not only get through it, but help someone else through it. Teach somebody else. Help someone else not go through the pain, because see, that's what Boundless is all about, folks. I made enough mistakes and I hurt for long enough that I was like, you know what? I know what it felt like to be at that bottom, be at my breaking point, one, to commit suicide because I made so many mistakes and I had so much guilt and so much shame. And I was like, you know what? Giving up's not an option. I'm a fighter. I used to love fighting people, but now you know what? That was wrong of me. I'm fighting for all the right things. I'm fighting for my strength and my health and my wealth and my family and my freedom and my fitness, my body, my mind, my soul. Fight for it, folks. You got it inside you. You could do it too. If you're watching this video, I believe in you. You can do it. You can master your money. You can master your body. You can master your relationships. It takes a choice. There's somebody that you know needs to hear this video as well. So please like, share, comment. Tell me some of the tips that you have on finances so we can share and help people get their money in check. Because every single day, we're all just getting a step closer to being balanced in our relationships, with our finances, with our lives. I love you, and I hope you all have an amazing day.